How you doing today?
Hoo-yah! Doing exceptional.
That was a great movie right there. Not for any other reason than Pacino. Pretty Boy. You remember Pretty Boy in that movie? What was his name? Robin?
I don't know.
Sure you do.
Pretty Boy?
Pretty Boy. I call him Pretty Boy. He's Robin in the Batman, in the dumbest Batman movie. It's actually called Batman, the dumbest one.
Was he also in The Runaway Bride?
I don't care.
Okay, me neither.
I don't actually. I don't know about that. But what I know is he was the kid in them in the Hoo-Ah movie.
Sure.
Dancing with a Blind Guy. What was that called?
Inadequate.
Inadequate.
Scent of a Woman.
It was called Inadequate. It's fantastic.
Scent of a Woman, right?
Yeah. They only play that anymore. When you see that movie, they only play the dancing scene anymore. That's the only scene because they know that's the only one anybody really cares about. But look, hoo-ah, the angry blind guy can dance. Hoo-ah.
That was a good show, actually.
Yeah. What are we gonna do? So we should probably come out and say it. The horrible truth.
Oh, come on!
No, I'm gonna do it.
Does your wife know? You're not going to choose this moment, are you? This seems awkward.
I was just feeling a little itchy.
This doesn't seem like the right moment, Pete. I don't know.
Megan,
all right, go ahead. Come out with it.
Megan who?
Come out with it.
She quit the show, man.
I don't like to look at it that way.
She quit. No, you know why? Because she really quit us.
I know, and I feel jilted.
If we weren't on the show, if we had quit the show, it would be just Megan. She would stick around. That's the truth. If we'd quit, she would stay.
Well, that's interesting. That's an interesting thought.
That's it. I quit. I want to see if she comes back.
Let's do that.
So Megan quit the show. And I don't know. I don't know what that means.
I don't know either, but all of a sudden, I didn't plan on this, but I just feel like bagging on her.
Do you really?
No, I don't.
No, I don't either.
But it would be a fun roast if she were here. We should have her on just for a roast.
For a roast. Yeah, right. It's going to be a best of.
We'll see if she's been listening to the show because we'll build up for it. But
she swears she is going to continue to listen.
I doubt that.
I doubt that. I strongly doubt. I don't listen to this show.
And we'll call her and we'll say, Megan, we're going to do a special cause marketing naked marketers, and it'll be great. We need you on, and then it'll just be a roast. That would be fun.
Oh, that's good.
We should do that. You know what I'm kind of excited about, though?
I'm dying to know.
Well,
then DC Super Friends?
No, not dying about that.
My kids are totally into that right now.
I'm excited about the coming campaign season, and the really like low level, like state level candidates or Congress people and their YouTube only ads.
All right, tell me about this. What have you seen lately?
I haven't watched it yet.
You haven't watched any yet? That's your whole thing?
No. There's this one, Kathy Peterson in Alabama, and it looks really awesome. I'm looking forward to that one.
I'm looking right now. Kathy Peterson. There she is. There are actually a lot of Kathy Petersons.
Okay, I don't know.
This is Kathy Peterson, Alabama.
Yeah. President,
Go
Public
Bama.
Service Commission.
There she is. Kathy2012.org. All right. It really is a wonderful season because it really, I think, the low level. Okay, so you look at Romney's campaign ads, and you can tell they're handled. They're by handlers.
Sure.
People who are coming up with that message, and he's saying, "Yeah, that looks good. You should do that." But they're always by a team of people sitting around a room. You can just feel it. Like this was groupthink.
Well, and what do they call, like in a normal corporation, they'd have a director of marketing, or they might have an ad director of some kind, or as a VP of public relations or whatever. But which maybe that's what it is in a political campaign. But yeah, I was thinking, like Romney's background, he's
Like-
basically probably got a marketing and an advertising, but they've got different names, I would assume, so it doesn't look so corporate. And so, like, well, if that guy signs off on it, then I'm okay with it.
Well, it's a campaign manager. I mean, that's a person who kind of handles that
Sure.
stuff, right? I mean, can be
I
paid,
guess, although
could be
that's-
volunteer, likely volunteer for Kathy Peterson in Alabama.
I know. Well, I just have such a love for like the local ads, local advertising.
Well, this was what I was going to say. And this is why I think it rings so true for you personally. Because I think when you look at when you go hyper local on these little campaigns and these mom and pop stores, you get the most honest advertising of any advertising that's out there, right? If you want to know what this business or this campaign or what this candidate is made of, you go local and you will get a picture of them like no other.
Well, I just think we started to see this, I think, maybe only about 2 years ago, where local level campaigns, or just kind of that lower tier, state level, whatever, or they didn't have a ton of money, and they realized, like, oh my gosh, there's this YouTube, there's this thing called the interwebs, and my kid has a camera or whatever. We just got this new video camera for Christmas, and I'm just gonna hop right in front of it. I'm gonna speak my mind, speak from the gut, like a Rick Perry, and my own version.
I'm going to say
Perry.
I have 3 things to tell you today. First one is I love you too. Second one is
vote for me.
third
The third
Department of Education. Whatever. No,
yeah.
I'm not serious. What do you think I am?
Anyway, my kids would like you to vote for me.
Let's go shoot a gun. That's terrible. It's terrible.
Or
for
where
me
they
I don't-
speak basically about all things that have nothing to do with the position they're going for. They're going to be like treasurer, but they're all about how Obama's a socialist and we're going to fight them red commies.
are you up on the Daily Show?
A little bit. I mean, it's been off
Did
for
you?
quite a while. But
No. This was the last week before hiatus.
Oh, no.
He did a bit.
I've been a little bit in limbo.
Really? Do you
A
want to? Do you want to talk about it?
No.
You're actually broadcasting live
From Meridian, Idaho.
What do they call? What is the? What's on the license plate in Idaho? It's not
they have
because
so many varieties of license plate here. Plates.
Yeah.
Licenses, plates.
is it as good as Live Free or Die?
That's a pretty sweet one.
Yeah,
And almost unbeatable.
almost unbeatable. I can't. In fact, think of one that beats it. Live Free or Die.
Now that's pretty sweet.
It's when you say it with conviction. They're actually
pretty
serious. We want you to live free, or you can.
But
I
you
don't
know
need
where they feel that way more than New Hampshire? Because I
Where?
don't think that same spirit exists in New Hampshire
All right.
as it did when that. But you know where it exists is Montana.
Yeah. I
Even
can feel that.
I think those people actually really believe that. Anyway,
Yeah, I've driven through Montana, and that's a state where you feel like it's this big sky country, right? And
yeah. Montana's
if you're not from there, you feel like you should get out.
it is a unique place, man.
Ah, beautiful place. So Stewart did a bit. We should post a link to this if you haven't seen it. It was a bit on Herman Cain. Barbara Walters interviewing Herman Cain as one of the 10 most interesting people, and it is it's seriously one of the funniest bits I've seen him do in a long time. And the premise of the bit, he spends 15 minutes off of this bit where Barbara Walters says to Herman Cain, hypothetically, if you could take on a cabinet position, what would that cabinet position be? And he says, now we're speaking hypothetically here. And she says, Yes, Herman Cain, we are speaking hypothetically. And he looks at her, dead serious, and he says, Department of Defense. And she looks at him like her eyes fall out of her head, and she says, what? And then this is what you have to see, because that's funny in itself when you see Barbara Walters do that. But then he goes off and he says, this man caused Barbara Walters, who has been on television since television started, to do the reporter's equivalent of a spit take. And he goes and he plays clips of her with dictators and moguls and idiots and actors, all of them, and she's staying totally serious. But 5 minutes with Herman Cain, and she loses composure completely. It is brilliant.
And by the way, Herman Cain, an example of that local tradition,
Yeah.
taken to a big national multi-million-dollar level.
It's what happens.
I mean, he had some winning commercials that were sort of YouTube only.
Are there any other women who are going to come out and talk about your, affairs with them? Not off the top of my head.
He was great.
He was great. He is a real
Stewart
loss.
would have loved a runoff between Donald Trump and Herman Cain.
Oh,
that would have been great for comedy shows.
Oh, totally.
Because those guys are just a soundbite a minute.
Truly.
But I gotta say, I think we should have a side business of political campaigns. There's got to be, and I know Oregon, I know for a fact that Oregon's a battleground state. And not only that, it's also like California, a state that gets filled up with ballot measures. And pretty much, I would say, Pete, September, October of this 2012, you're not going to get a commercial that is not a political commercial.
Well, no, that's true. We definitely, there's a high season. It's not as bad as California because we don't have, California's initiative process that is totally run by the people. is
democracy in action.
Wow. That's absolutely messed up that state, and we don't have it that bad. It is a battleground state for sure, and that we have our own little circles of weird, but it's no California. I resent that you call us that you even compare us to California.
Well,
I left California.
But what you can't defend, I think, I mean, Oregon has more than just a few circles of weird. I've been there. In the state. There's more than just a couple of circles of weird.
This is why I don't find Portlandia funny. Because, what's funny about it? Okay, you put a bird on it. That's how I live. That's not funny. That's like mourning.
Yep, I love Portlandia. Yeah, so okay, we'll hit Oregon, we'll hit California, and I'm just saying we got to find ballot measures, and we've got to find candidates who are willing to just let the camera roll.
What do you think of let's see. First of all, Iowa is over, right?
Okay.
What happened?
What happened in Iowa?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I guess let's reposition this.
Well, here's why. Because I'm looking. You have a deep personal bond with both Mitt Romney and Huntsman.
I have a geographical bond.
Right, as I said, a deep personal bond. And so I'm curious. Now I know. Okay, so Romney actually took the caucus, but not by much. Rick Santorum came out of
8 votes. That's more than 6. It's less than 10, but it's more.
It's more than Newt Gingrich, the hate candidate. No, the condescension candidate. I wanted to, and I can't believe Ron Paul came in third. So Mitt Romney came in first with 8 votes over Rick Santorum. With some, 3,800 votes more than Ron Paul, who performed very well, beat Newt Gingrich by 10,000 votes, and Rick Perry by, 14,000?
I don't know.
Michelle Bachmann, thank goodness. Everybody beat her by a lot.
And she won Iowa, but what? 5 months ago,
Yeah.
something like that.
Oh, how the winds have changed.
Oh, but
There's
I
a lot of
loved, by the way, I loved last night's Daily Show. I think it was.
I haven't seen it yet. You're going to spoil it. You're going to
Well,
spoil it.
just a quick little clip of her. I think it was. I think it was maybe not the announcement of her stepping down. Maybe it was just the election night speech, which was kind of, well, we've done our best. But then she makes some comment about how her husband, while she was like going door to door and hitting the neighborhoods, he was out buying glasses for their dog, like sunglasses.
For their
And
no.
and he's the guy, by the way, that like runs a, what is it, like homosexual reprogramming? I don't know what they call it, but where they, they try to straighten people out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just
That's a
he is
horrible,
not the
horrible
most
thing.
manly man that
Oh.
anyway. So, and
Well, there's
John Stewart always makes fun of that, but it was pretty funny. He gives this face like, sorry, honey, I should have been helping you more. But yes,
look,
you're
I bought
right.
matching sunglasses with me.
I do love to shop for dog accessories. And that day seemed as good as any.
I wondered why she didn't come home. Oh, it was the Iowa caucus. Oh.
That's right. We were fighting for her political life. Anyway, but there's this cute little store. They sell the neatest things for small dogs, purse dogs. Anyway, yeah, no, she was a treasure. Yeah, what happened in Iowa?
Well, no, I know, this is why I want to get back. Okay, first of all, Mitt Romney, your close personal friend,
Right.
he did very well, and I don't know why he did very well.
Eight votes well.
8 votes well. John Huntsman didn't
Skipped
do as well.
He skipped.
Well,
Iowa.
he skipped Iowa for campaigning,
And he said, by the
did
way,
end up with
about a week ago-
745 votes.
Did he?
Yeah, but he says today, he says he sees opportunity despite Iowa results. That's optimism.
No, well, he made a little statement that I think was not going to win him any votes in Iowa, where he said, "Yeah, I'm skipping Iowa." This was about a week ago, and I'm focusing on New Hampshire because in New Hampshire they make presidents. In Iowa they grow corn. Wow. And I didn't figure that'd win over the populace. That's like, my
bold.
new state of Idaho saying, if he was like, New Hampshire I'm focusing on because in Idaho they basically just grow potatoes. I don't care.
That's right. I don't eat French fries.
Or if it were Oregon. In Oregon they just make freaky people.
Wait
Sorry.
a minute.
I love Oregon.
What I want to know
moved
of
to
you,
Idaho to be closer to Oregon.
I know you did. This is one state. Just every 10 years you move up
I'm
a
very
state.
close. I'm very close to Oregon right now. Ontario, but hey.
All right.
I hear Ontario's quite a town.
No,
Sorry.
No. What I want to know is, I'd like your expert opinion on what you think the leading message should be for the top candidates. The leading, if you were the campaign manager.
This is for our new ad agency focusing on political vignettes.
Yep. What is the Romney message? Because he went big, man. That guy, this was the other thing that Stewart pointed out was so brilliant was he showed I didn't see this, so that's why I bring up Stewart again. When the ball dropped on New Year's Eve, right? Romney rented the big screen in Times Square behind the ball for product placement.
Wow.
It was Vote Romney in 2012 in New York City.
Pretty smart.
Yeah.
Or is it overexposure?
Well, exactly right. It's like, God, that is such a good idea. I hate that guy.
Yeah, I know. You'd almost, if you were him, you'd almost want to just really not talk.
He
just
doesn't. He
lay
doesn't
low.
If anything, Santorum and Gingrich and Perry have proven their ability, and Michelle Bachmann have proven their ability to torpedo their own campaigns. Like, you don't have to do much to just be quiet and just and you will win the race.
Yeah, no. If you were in a debate with that whole field, and I would say the goal would be to speak maybe 20% as much as any of them do. Just let them talk as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good campaign. So let's see. So are you saying, so for Rick Santorum.
Don't Google me.
That's perfect.
My name's Rick Santorum.
Don't Google me.
Don't Google me. Please don't visit me online.
Yeah, poor guy. He hasn't been able to win that battle yet, has he?
No, he's still suffering.
still suffering from the Dan Savage effect. Yeah, that was rough for that guy.
He's lucky that it's election season on Google, because if you haven't seen this, Google has a new election results landing page with it's aggregated all the news and search results related to election coverage, and it's sort of it's a nice. Have you played with this thing, Google Elections?
I have not.
It's I think I said that right. I think it's google.com/elections. Yeah. It's google.com/elections, and it's just this nice landing page about politics and all the search results and YouTube channels and the calendars. You can subscribe to the PBS NewsHour calendar of all the election events. You can choose to look at each candidate's bio and background and all the news related to them. And so it's a great landing page. I really like what Google has done for this in terms of, giving people a chance to see this. And as a result, it appears to me that Google is prioritizing, election news specifically at the top of search results. So if you do a Google search for Santorum, you get news results first, and then the horrible begins.
Well, lucky Rick.
So
yeah, I would, boy. I mean, if I were Savage, I would just be, I would wake up in the morning proud every day, I think, because I can't imagine really getting beyond Iowa with that being a fact. I don't know. I think he really pulled off a feat there.
Yeah. No, I think you're right.
He really pulled something off.
Maybe it shows that Santorum followers are just notoriously not technology friendly.
Right.
Like they just don't understand. They're still using pliers to change a channel.
Well, I don't think he had any expectation of going very far. And interviews with like sort of various NPR journalists and stuff, they're just like, yeah, they're kind of admitting on the day of the caucuses that they really, it was kind of a joke of sorts. I mean, he'd sort of show up with no entourage, like no real crew of any kind, no real budget, basically one of his kids, and carrying his own luggage at most events. But anyway, got to hand it to him. He surged on caucus day. So, but that, of course, brings with it its, as has been the case through the entire primaries so far, brings with it the spotlight of, oh yeah, and you said this and you also said that, and this is in your past, and these guys have got some crazy statements, just the whole group of them. So yes, Rick Santorum, don't Google me, perfect.
Well, it's really funny. This is fascinating. I don't think I have never looked at all of the candidates' websites side by side. You should do this. Are you ready? So Ron Paul, I think it's ronpaul2012.com. Ron Paul's website. Okay. Ron Paul, mittromney.com, newt.org, and ricksantorum.com.
Okay.
And then let's see. Obama.
I'm letting you do this because I'm just staring at the pastoral sereneness of rural Ada County. Go ahead.
Really?
Uh-huh. No, I want to hear the description from you. I want to be in the listener's shoes. You go ahead.
This isn't going to be as interesting if you're not looking.
Oh, come on.
All right. So you look at them all side by side. I remember and I can't remember the head of the digital campaign for Obama, but I remember all of the Republican.
But he works for somebody now, right?
He
made a name for himself.
He did,
whoever it was.
That's we've actually talked about him, I think, in the past.
I think so.
This makes us look bad.
There was a moment we pretended to be full of knowledge about him, but anyway.
No, it's because we can talk at very little depth about great many things. The site itself was wonderful, and and even now the BarackObama.com website is all sort of serene blues. It's very calming and very Democrat. And if you remember last year, all of the the Republican or last election, all the Republicans, they were just the opposite. It was just very red, and everything was red. And now, if you look at the Romney site and the Newt Gingrich site and the Rick Santorum site in particular, I find this interesting. They're all very blue, very calming, very sort of congenial. Even Newt.org is congenial and calm and feels just very welcoming. Romney in particular looks like a nice WordPress theme. And I say that with great respect for WordPress. And Ron Paul, of all of them, is the red action news. We believe in Ron Paul.
Well, he's an old guy. I think he kind of needs that.
You think? Do you think that's what that represents? What do you think? I mean, that's what my opinion is, or that's what my question is. What do you think about the tone and theme of the candidates? Their positioning, design positioning.
Yeah, no, I do like this though on Ron Paul's website, that when you scroll down a bit, he's got it's choose your state, and it's got the the U.S. and every state in the U.S. is red. That seems subliminal. It's interesting.
Yeah, right.
Very interesting.
What's that about?
Well, I think it's part of the what's that called, the vortex, what's the description of Steve Jobs, the delusion, the what's that thing, the sort of self
delusion,
where you create your own reality.
No, I know
reality
all right, I was going to say it, but I felt like you were on such a roll.
I was close. It's the Fox News reality distortion field, where you might lead people to believe that every state really is a red state. Yeah. They just sometimes vote blue on occasion. I think that's the subliminal message.
That's what's actually interesting, is that even the red states are just even more red.
Right, exactly.
They're all shades of red. It's like we're sort of pinkish red and then blood red.
Pretty good.
If you're committed, you're going to bleed for it.
Don't we believe that Ron Paul is going to run as a third-party candidate at some point?
Apparently, so is what's his name? Vegas mogul. What's his name? Real estate.
Steve Wynn?
No. The guy, he already has been in and dropped out.
Vegas mogul?
No, New York. Trump.
Okay.
Donald Trump. So
Steve Wynn is the Vegas.
Mogul. Right, that's right. So Donald Trump, you heard what his new thing is. He says he's going to host a debate, and if he doesn't like the results of the debate, he may jump in as an independent.
Oh, I thought that was a fun move.
He's a winner.
Man, how about BachmanHouse.gov? What a horrible website that is.
All right, wait a minute. That's one I didn't bring up.
Above MichelleBachmann.com, where she's got kind of an Alfred E. Newman look on her face. In fact, in a big way. She's got more of a space between those teeth than I thought. So the tone. Wow, this one doesn't really have a color theme.
Are you talking about Bachman House?
That one's horrible.
No, that's like a high school. That's a high school project.
Oh, really?
No. No, I'm not serious. I'm not being serious. I'm not being serious. I'm being sarcastic.
Horrible.
It is not good.
Horrible.
But you were saying, so if I go to just Michelle, if I Google Michelle Bachmann.
Well, that's what I did. There's a MichelleBachmann.com. But these themes really are interesting. This is interesting. You should bring this up. And you're right. There's a very blue theme. Very calming. I think you've kind of hit that one.
Even the image, like the first image that you see of Michelle Bachmann, you can see the big headline promotional image of her is blue and calming, in spite of how strident and red she is.
Yeah.
Go ahead and make sense of that. But the image, the background images, the gradients of the flag, they've all been like split tone blue.
Now, is there still a Herman Cain website? Let's check that out.
Please let there be a Herman Cain website.
Yep, hermancain.com. System offline. Wow, he really pulled out, didn't he? Holy cow.
Wow.
He just... Now, does he still work at Godfather Pizza?
does he still work at Godfather Pizza?
Does he?
Like he was delivering for them one day.
He was a CEO. He wasn't the owner, was he?
I don't know, but CEO, I
I
think.
thought he was a.
My name is Herman Cain, and that merits more respect.
I don't know. What?
I'm going to go to facebook.com/the Herman Cain. There
This
he
is
is.
probably the point where if Megan was on the show,
She would shut us up.
We never would have gotten this far.
No, it's truly not. If you go to, this is one of the things I really like about his Facebook link. Facebook.com/capital T, capital H, capital E, Herman Cain.
Oh, yeah, that is sweet.
They've actually got the case-sensitive URL.
Wow. Love that.
He means it. He is the Herman Cain.
Actually.
Are you the Dane Christensen anywhere?
No, but I'm going to try that, man. I think that's brilliant. I love that for sure.
For everything. Capitalize the hell out of everything I do.
Yeah, why not? Heck yeah, I'm going to do that.
But he's got this very red, kind of a split tone there.
How about this, though?
Yeah.
How about, like, what percentage of American political campaigns, regardless of political stripe or persuasion, are done in red, white, and blue?
All of them?
And how many Americans do you think realize that the French national colors are also red, white, and blue? I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that.
I mean, I think there are a lot of people who think that only America is red, white, and blue. But I mean, I see some now. Every now and then I'll see, and it's generally going to be a Democrat, by the way. But they'll do green or I don't know. I've seen green is kind of a somewhat common one, I guess, but it's sort of a black montage of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
But it just seems like you aren't a serious candidate unless red, white, and blue are somewhere in your color motif.
Yeah. No, I think that's true. But if you look at what Obama did in with that, I look at the Obama, and I look at the Obama design aesthete, right, and the design, the overall design theme, and the message that went with it, as about as sort of humanizing effect on a campaign as you could get. I mean, that the whole it really aligned with the underlying grassroots message of that the campaign itself was trying to foster, right? And at the time, the Republican candidates were not, it was definitely red, big. It just reeked of mahogany and big money. That's just what the design aesthete felt like for me. And now it's sort of hard to tell them apart.
Now, you'd have to, other than the, what is it, michelle.house.gov or whatever.
Easy to tell that one apart.
Other than that, you'd have to think some very serious thought, or at least some A/B split testing went into some of these. And I wonder, here's something I wonder, because, we can say from the one hand, well, maybe this was PR driven, or maybe they did do some focus groups, but maybe there's sort of this top level thought process that the most important thing in this particular sort of primary campaign time period that the candidates that seem to sort of stay afloat at least have, Mitt Romney seems to have sort of held his position more or less based on he's the only sort of thoughtful, or he isn't crazy, or he's not, overly aggressive or whatever. And so maybe there's that thought process. But you'll notice on almost every one of these websites that the most upfront action or call to action or focus is donation. So, hit any one of these sites, and some of them, it's sort of like donate first, go to the website later, or, you have the option right away, or they're obviously trying to get that. And if they did split testing, so if they did some other color motifs or some other, even other sort of design elements or messaging or content, and let's just make some assumption, with as much money as at stake here, you would think that there was some real testing that happened. I don't know if there was, but there should be, right? But how much of that was based on polling or caucus results, or versus how much of that was based on donations, and are people watching, donations per visit? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And are they testing that with the design? That would be interesting to know. I wonder.
Hmm.
But, not as interesting as your local Alabama state treasurer and trying to get a YouTube video done for her on a zero budget.
Well,
Or
and
maybe,
that's I think that's the one of the other things I wanted to get your thoughts on was just sort of a reflection on sort of trends of 2011. Now that we're in a new year, thank goodness. And that's
reflect.
one of them. That's one of them. Is this that video is online video is I think, at least working with my clients, is one of those things that's just kind of we're mainstream, and so we're seeing more of the independent non-agency produced video hitting the web, and therefore less testing.
Well, do we know who did the Herman Cain video? The one where
The
like the
smoking
guy,
one?
yeah, the guy smokes at the end. And by the way, do we know? I would imagine at some point, and maybe I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about this, but the Huntsman daughters, the three girls who are so quippy and funny, and they do the Twitter feed,
Yeah.
and they've done like some, they did a video parody of the Herman Cain campaign video with the smoking at the end. Like how much professional help is involved with them, I wonder. That's never come up. I've read interviews, and it's all, hey, this is us, and we just woke up with this idea, and this sister said, hey, we should do this. Or they've got to have some professional help though, right?
I feel like it. I
mean, when it comes to saying like, okay, let's do a video, maybe they have the initial concept, but they don't shoot the video. They probably got makeup people and a whole host of sort of editors and people who shoot it, and they've got access to that.
I'm sorry.
What?
I'd just forgotten how fantastic the smoking video is.
It's fantastic.
It should be funny or die.
I mean, that was real though.
Oh,
that was real.
1.7 million views on YouTube, and frankly, that's not enough. That should be seen by 70 million people. It's
you
that
would think.
good.
Come on.
It's fantastic.
He was ahead at one point. You'd think more people would see it.
He's that video was posted by the Herman Cain, and the smoking guy is the chief of staff for the Herman Cain, Mark.
Yeah,
as he likes to be called, the Mark Block.
Dude, I'm going for this the thing. I love it.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I just picture yourself at a party, and you introduce yourself, and somebody says, hey, I'm Susie Henson, and you say, hi, I'm the
Dane Christensen. Yeah.
Would you have to pause the, or would you say, I'm the Dane Christensen? They say, what? The Dane? Your name's the Dane? What? Is that one word?
Dane
one
Christensen.
Name? No. The, as in, yeah, like as in the great Dane.
You have a problem actually with that, because you could be like a Dutch prince. You are the Dane Christensen.
You mean Danish, I think, but
like Shakespeare. Shakespeare. You could be the Shakespearean Dane.
Why not? Maybe I am.
You wouldn't know. All right. What else sticks with you after from 2011? Enough of this political wonkiness.
Yeah.
Anything stick out for you?
Should we do a politics show? Why not?
We should just a whole politics show.
Let's do our own political show, and maybe we just focus on political advertising. I don't.
If anything, we've just proven we're not very good at it.
Well, I didn't major in political science. I think people who did are boring though. I mean, that's okay. I think you can do politics from a pop culture standpoint, can't you? Why not?
Well, and here's another.
That's all people seem to know about politics at the end of the day, anyways.
Well, that's all they care about.
Right. Exactly.
And that's another thing that I think, and one of the things I think you're seeing in, Facebook.com/thehermancain. And I think one of the real challenges for 2012, as there are more and more, or there is more and more of a diffusion of platforms, potential platforms to get your message out there, right? You have more and more of an opportunity to mess it up. Does that make sense?
Well, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, this is an area, this is what's interesting. And this is, I think we're still in, because it's so cyclical. A few years ago, the conversation, I don't even know if it's back even a few years, one, two, I'm not sure, but it was a very interesting conversation. It probably goes back as much as 4 or 5 years, but the evolution of corporate messaging from being very controlled, very sort of top down, driven from, maybe created from, the company's marketing or PR division, but approved by oftentimes the entire sort of top level management before a website is put out, or a brochure is distributed, or an ad campaign is approved. And then the notion that it would become, and I don't know if democratic's the right word, I don't think it is, but it would at least become less diffused and more, or more diffused, I mean, and more, allowing a Twitter account, for instance, or creating a Facebook page that allows for customer feedback on that page. I mean, that was an evolution, right? I mean, that was, and there were lessons learned about what sort of restrictions to put in place, or how to handle it, or how to, and this is, continues to evolve, of course, but big companies, like, I think drug companies are a great example, because they have a whole lot of legal issues to deal with. And, but companies like Pfizer have had active Twitter accounts for a few years, and it's been a very interesting thing to witness, that literally, these companies go from controlling everything that is said about them to understanding and accepting that it's good to not always be in control, and to allow other people to drive some name recognition and some discourse. So with politics, politicians have done well being in control of every element of their campaign, or when they're in office, every element of what they say and where they say it, and what gets printed, and all that kind of thing. But of course, I mean, you can always get so much more mileage out of allowing other people to drive that in addition to you driving it. So lots of things I think are still very rocky about that. So like you're saying, that the low budget videos, or other people creating it, I mean, Ron Paul is probably, and this is not the first campaign that Ron Paul has had major support from a certain segment of society, or of the, population, or the voting public, who really, they put up, they'll use like a bed sheet and a stencil kit and spray paint, vote Ron Paul or whatever, and hang it up above a freeway on, whatever, like a pedestrian overpass on the chain link fence. You see that quite a bit, I think. I see quite a bit of those. And that of course goes online. And how much of that do you try to control? Like, how much of your budget and your human resource capital, I guess, as a campaign, do you put into trying to police that, or at least be aware of it,
I mean, there's sort of a positioning. I think we're talking about two things. The first one is, what is your position on user-generated content?
Mm-hmm.
And that has changed, or is an evolving discussion. Which, in the case of Ron Paul, having more of a population out there of supporters who are building a community and sharing their message on behalf of Ron Paul is probably a good thing. I think it'd be hard to say in a position of a candidacy, I really, I don't like it when people share my message. That seems to be, that would be a bit sort of nihilistic for the campaign.
From who again?
Ron Paul. Like, if Ron Paul were to say, no, I don't run this campaign, I don't want people out there without,
exactly. That would be antithetical to his.
They can't put my name on a bed sheet.
Brand.
It's not. It's copyright infringement.
No, right? And he knows very well, that the grassroots. I mean, he gets that. He I don't know what his technical understanding is, but he absolutely gets that. He gets all kinds of mileage out of sort of giving power to his supporters. Absolutely. To do that kind of thing, and I think he's been very clever about giving them resources to do that themselves, so that he's not going into a place like, say, Utah, which is a fairly uncontested state for the most part anyway. So, it's not what they'd call a battleground state. But he's got all kinds of supporters there who I gather there's some sort of resources they have access to, like the stenciling or that kind of thing, because there's some branding at play. Like there's some similarity to the font usage and that kind of thing, or the colors, but
I wonder if you can like download it somewhere. Like
I would think that's what I gather. I've never looked into it, but I've seen enough of those signs that I think there's some resource people have access to.
I want to go door to. I want to host a house party.
No, it's very well.
I wonder.
It's impressive.
Well, I think the more of those tools, but see, that's the campaign side. But the other side, in terms of the 2012 side, and I think so much of having to have these discussions about how you allow both staff in your organization, not just a campaign organization, but a company, how you allow your staff to participate in the online, in the broader online social discussion, and how you encourage them to do so through blogs and Twitter and Facebook, versus how much control you have to exert over them, has been determined by the lack of control that exists in the tools to measure and monitor that discussion. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think 2011, with the development of Hootsuite and other tools, analytics tools that allow you to monitor multiple accounts and aggregate access to multiple sort of company account, sort of corporate accounts to these social services, has really started to cement. And now we're seeing the same level of, I predict we're going to see the same level of control exerted in social media tools over Google Plus and over Facebook pages and over more sort of policy updates.
And I think you ultimately can't run a successful political campaign without that kind of knowledge. I mean, I think that the original genius of Karl Rove was not a political one, but an analytics one. I mean, he was very good initially at understanding demographics and targeting demographics, and direct mail was his original, sort of forte, I guess.
Which and direct mail strength. At the time was a mature communications tool.
Yes.
And now I think we're seeing Twitter and Facebook and Google Plus as maturing communications tools.
Exactly.
And we're having the monitoring tools that we're able to see activity like we have never been able to see before. And I think there's great opportunity in that.
And what was the book then / movie with like Kathy Bates and I don't remember who else, John Travolta, about the Bill Clinton campaign? What was that one? It was written by the Time guy.
Oh, yeah. No, it was really good.
What was that called? Primary Colors?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Do you remember the scene early, probably in the primaries, I think, I'm not sure, but where they sort of planted people in cafes and other public places where people were able to watch speeches and then they'd have like a cell phone or they'd use a payphone or whatever, and they'd call and say, people don't like it when they say that. People don't like Hillary's dress, but they love this, or they had a good reaction to that, and they would call back. And that seems so primitive today, although it still, I think, has relevance. And it's, you getting a visceral, human reaction to something, I think still has importance. But look at from there to today and the ability for people to sort of monitor Twitter after a debate or during a debate and to see what people are commenting on and to provide feedback. It's kind of crazy.
One of the great tools, if you haven't used it, it's an open source tool. I thought I was at the right place. The tool is called ThinkUp. And ThinkUp is Gina Trapani was the founder of she's a life hacker. You know what life hacker? You do any of the life hacker?
I've looked in. I've seen some things, but I've never adopted any habits.
I'm gonna, as a sidebar, you're a guy who could probably use that.
No.
You really? No, I'm serious.
No, I am a life hacker. Give me a break.
Well, okay.
I don't need help. I've hacked life completely.
Go to thinkupapp.com.
I will.
ThinkUp app. ThinkUp app is an open source web application. You got to install it on your own server. If you have a server, you can do this. And this lets you, what ThinkUp allows you to do, you plug in your all of your networks, your Twitter, your Facebook.
This kind of looks like inviting Big Brother right into my lap.
But it's all your stuff, right? You're your own Big Brother, right?
Okay.
And it's unfortunate that the video that's right on the front page uses as a demo the White House Twitter account, because it makes it look like, oh my God, the White House is looking at my social activity, but it's not. What the White House actually uses ThinkUp as a tool to measure interaction online. And I installed ThinkUp on my own server to start measuring, and in fact, as a sort of side benefit, it backs up and archives all of your activity on your own server. So if Twitter ever goes down, you keep all your posts. And I started looking at it, and it's absolutely fascinating, the level of detail and algorithmically what you can learn by the people who interact with you on these networks. It's really, in terms of an open source tool that you can download and install today, if you have a little bit of that sort of bent for hackery, it is brilliant. The White House has, I think, just listening to Gina Trapani talk about it, the White House has really been a major provider of data to build this service in a way that, you've got to flood the thing with data to be able to really see how you want the analytics to work. And the result is an incredibly rich tool that allows you to see how your community is rallying around the things that you talk about. That's fascinating. Have you watched you got to watch the little video. Don't do it now.
I'm not going to do it now. Yeah, no, I'm saving this discovery.
It's really,
for when I won't be fully distracted, because I need some life hacker.
You're a little.
Help.
You need.
I need some life hacker medication.
I don't want to, saddle you with anything, too significant. But it's fascinating, and when you look at the it's a ThinkUp 1.0. They're working on ThinkUp 2.0, and it is they're redesigning. It's already in need of a redesign, and I think that's a result of the mass of data that they are allowing people to collect, and they're starting to see these really big accounts, and it scales difficultly. It's beautiful, but when you look at it, sometimes you can get sort of confused by all of the massive data that you start being able to collect. And their version 2, there's a blog post on ThinkUp app that you can link to from thinkupapp.com that will show you what ThinkUp 2.0 is going to look like. And I'm really gunning for a quick release. It is a beautiful application. So start collecting lots of data and start looking at it. This is, I think, that's what, back to the trends of 2011-12, this is, I think, what we're going to see in 2012 that really sort of cements this striving toward design of data and being able to, for organizations, big brands, to look at data in a way that they've never been able to look for, and as a result, be able to engage in their community in a way that they've never been able to do before. I think it bodes really well for community management online, brand community management online.
Yeah, and it also, it just reminds you how active you should be, but can be, in managing that and knowing it and understanding it. Every time you look and sort of revisit this issue, you find some new tool or some new application or some new way to interpret data that that has relevance and value.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're, in this case, an individual, or a community, I guess, but starting with you as an individual, whether you care, I guess, that much or not. Which, by the way, what's the most vain city in America? Do you know that one?
The most vain city in America.
What would you guess?
I would say Sun Valley, California.
Oh, there's no such thing.
Okay, I just made that up. There's a sun something in California, right?
There's Sun Valley, Idaho.
Sun Valley. No, that's not the one I was thinking of. It's not like...
You're thinking of Orange County?
Yeah. Orange County. The OC. The OC. The
They got
S the
that
SCI the SC.
Sunkist got you for life with the sun orange tie-in. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. Yeah, that's good.
You are still affected by that. So questions included things like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your attractiveness?
What are you reading here? What is this?
Oh, I don't remember where it was. Who knows? Self magazine or something. I don't know.
This has nothing to do with analytics and community management.
As
All right, go.
self-awareness. It was this think up, and how concerned are you about people talking about
Oh,
you?
okay. All right, go. This is good. Now I'm excited.
Okay. So that's one question. Have you ever had plastic surgery? Do you know anybody who has had plastic surgery? And so questions like that, they actually were pretty valid. Number one, most vain city in America, Miami, Florida. Have you ever been to Miami? No, you went to Florida recently and didn't go to Miami.
No, because I was scared of Dexter.
Oh, Miami is a beautiful place with beautiful people. Yeah, they were number one. What was number two? Miami kind of jumped out because Los Angeles, I think, was 5. I think everyone would say they're number 1. Vegas,
yeah. The OC.
right? Yeah, OC. No, they were down there. It was New York was up there. Miami.
What about Real Housewives? Where are they?
Was in the top 4.
Phoenix was in the top 4.
I believe it was. Yeah. Phoenix is a big plastic surgery mecca.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
I think Phoenix, but the average American rates themselves where on a scale of 1 to 10? I'll tell you the answer, unless you want to guess.
7.
That's right. The average American rates themselves as a 7 out of 10. Now, have you been to Walmart lately?
3.
Just I've seen the average American. They're not a 7. The average American is not a 7. I don't know.
That's
the average South Beach walker buyer is a 7+, but yeah. No, I live in Middle America right now.
You really do.
An official flyover area. We do have an airport, but this is a flyover state, so yeah.
There's a lot of beauty up where you are now. I'm not going to lie to you. And I mean geographic beauty.
Okay. Yeah.
A lot of beauty. You live in a beautiful part of the world.
It's pastoral, it's serene, it's pleasant.
Thank God for the internet so that you can actually stay connected with the rest of us.
And and I can order things off Amazon. I've done that several times since I've been here.
Are you a Prime member?
No, but
you should totally do that.
Right. I did a 1-month test once in Salt Lake, and it just didn't seem.
You need it now, son.
I need it now. No, literally, I've made about 5 Amazon orders since.
When you can order a washer and dryer overnight for $3 each for shipping. If it's available in Prime, they will deliver it for $2.99 to go from like 2 days, because it's like 3-day standard shipping is free with Prime, or 2-day, whatever it is.
All right, next show we need to dig into this. I think next week we ought to maybe talk about the ways that internet shopping and social media make the Bobo lifestyle palatable.
I would like to do a show on what the hell you just said.
Did I
what is the Bobo lifestyle? That doesn't mean that's not you just made up that word.
I meant boho, maybe. I think I meant boho.
Hobo, maybe.
Bohemian boho.
The Bobo lifestyle. I'm writing down.
Wait a minute. It's a boho, new green lifestyle. I don't know.
I
thought it meant yeah, it is. It was a whole book. It's the supposed sort of demographic trend that allows people to be geographically unattached and to sort of live anywhere. It was sort of a mega trend prediction about 8 years ago that I think this was actually kind of at the height of the late 90s internet boom, perhaps, actually, that this prediction was made that, people wouldn't feel the need to live close to their jobs or to civic centers because they could live anywhere and have access to everything. It didn't quite play out that way because, of course, current demographic trends have cities becoming increasingly important and people are moving closer to the city center, partly to drive less and to use fewer resources, and they have fewer children, et cetera, et cetera. But I feel like, I'm sort of living this initial prognostication that that I can move to a place like the outskirts of Boise, Idaho, and can still have access to everything I need. So we'll see. This is an experiment for me. I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, since you bought a house there, it seems like kind of a commitment to the experiment.
Yeah, no, I know. It's not like a week in Palm Springs.
No, not like that.
That's a different kind of
That's
experiment.
a different experiment.
I did that once.
We should go to Burning Man.
We should.
That
But
should
you
be
were
what
thinking
we do.
Coachella. That was the tie-in you just had.
Yeah, Coachella, and I was also thinking the Oregon Country Fair.
Oh, we should totally do that.
Hello, nurse.
Yeah, let's go. All right, man. Well, I got to roll.
It's good talking to you.
Good talking to you.
All right, catch you next week.
Catch you next week.
Bye.